Fellow Falcoholics, what is up? Welcome to the Falcoholic Lives Falcons vs 49ers Week 15 post-game show. I am your host, Kevin Knight. Thank you for your patience. Just getting things set up. It's a new laptop, new room, because I'm traveling home for the holidays, and game that ended very quickly. Usually these shows, if you guys are following us a lot, these shows start like 4:15. So I usually sort of mentally bake that in about when things should be ready, right? But no, the Falcons Lions game actually ended before 4 o'clock, so that is of course exciting. So yeah, thank you for your patience. Really appreciate that. Welcome in everyone to the show. Let me pull up. Got some workarounds here. Merry Christmas, everyone. Also, thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate letting me skip the Wednesday show. It was good for everyone, I think, because, who really wanted to talk about that loss to the 49ers? It's a terrible game. We were ready to move on. It's just going to be draft takes anyway. We got plenty of time for those, right? But thanks, everyone. And let's jump right into this game, which was a little bit up and down, right? Yes, week 6. It's supposed to be week 16. You're right. Good catch there, Jeffrey. I don't, sometimes these were, graphic design programs, they don't do exactly what I want, but it's an easy fix. Thank you for pointing that out. See, it says on this, it didn't update. It just didn't update. It's being rude. The front page was correct. This one, however, is not. So I'll fix that real quick. But again, welcome in, everyone. Thank you for watching. If you haven't joined us before, please do like and subscribe. Those numbers really help us out. We are going to be breaking down the play of the offense and the defense, and of course, giving Kyle Pitts copious praise on today's episode. Why is it so small? It's tiny. It's so small. That's ridiculous. It should not be that small. There you go. That's better. That's better. Okay. At any rate, now that those things have been sorted out, thank you guys very much for your patience. It is the Lions officially. It is fixed. So, thank you. Kay, I'm holding up pretty well. It wasn't a great game. We were definitely not trapped talking about the 49ers again. That is for sure. Because I don't think anyone wants to talk about the 49ers anymore. We're ready to move on from that to talk about the Lions, which was a win. The Falcons did their best to give it away there at the end, but the Lions gave it right back. So the Falcons ended up getting the interception to seal the game. Foye Tim Boyle threw it right to him. After the Falcons probably could have closed the game out on the previous drive, Russell Gage ended up fumbling it away. Not great, but at the end of the day, this isn't an impressive win. This isn't a good win necessarily, but it is a win. They've sort of been doing this thing basically all year long where they've sort of won ugly against teams that they should, and they've lost really badly to the teams that they shouldn't beat. So pretty much par for the course here. But with this win, I think Arthur Smith really does sort of cement that he at least beat the teams that he should have beat this year. The one that you could maybe say they should have beat was Washington, that they didn't. I think if they win that game, they're probably still alive for the playoffs, but alas, they're not. Probably in line instead for a better draft pick. So, so you win some, you lose some there. Could be worse, I guess. But the offense was not sharp overall. I mean, they were okay. The run game took a really long time to get going. It was not particularly good overall. Was weak. And then the passing game, the pass protection was just so bad on that first drive. They gave 3 sacks on the first drive, which was, of course, painful to watch. Then it was okay after that. The defense looked really bad on the first drive. They got confused a few times. They gave up the one touchdown. To Amon-Ra St. Brown. And it's like, obviously Terrell missed on that play, but, watching the replay, he was so close, to that pick. And he thought he had it. So it's like, it's hard to get too mad at Terrell for that, because I think he thought he had zone backup behind him. like someone was rotating into that zone and he was trying to jump it, and it didn't work. Ended up giving up a touchdown, but I think he was trying to do I think he was trying to do the right thing, and I think he did make a good decision. He just didn't make the play, and that happens sometimes. So it's hard to be too upset about that. They gave up the one touchdown. They gave up some field goals. Falcons scored 2 touchdowns and kicked some field goals. Just a sort of meh game overall, right? I'm happy, Kay, that they won more games. Certainly, it's always fun to watch more wins than losses. But it's not great that they seem to only be beating bad teams, but at least we're beating bad teams because they weren't doing that last year. So that is an improvement over last season. Certainly, they're 3 wins better. They have a chance to get another win, I think, at the end of the year against the Saints. They already beat them once. Maybe they can do it again. I hope they do, because I think, I think if they do end up beating the Saints and getting the sweep, I think a lot of fans would sort of, view this year in a much more positive light. With this team getting the sweep over the Saints, their most hated rival, something that Dan Quinn, I think, was only able to do like one time. It's that would be nice to get the sweep over the Saints. That would at least be a nice way to cap off the season. I think they can, but we'll see what happens there. But yeah, we definitely need to talk about Kyle Pitts, because Kyle Pitts is great. He's awesome. I love Pitts, and to the criticism that he was getting, not necessarily from you guys or Falcons fans in general, just I think there was this fantasy contingent that was really like sort of disappointed in Pitts. Like they're like, oh yeah, he's gonna have the best season of all time and all this, and I think Pitts has had a great rookie season. I think expecting him to be this monster player that is actually the number 1 receiver on his team, and like this great fantasy player, and all this in year 1, it was too much. I think in the offseason I was expecting like maybe like 750 and 5 TDs or something like that, and he's definitely blown past the yardage. I think the lack of touchdowns is probably what's pissing off fantasy players more than anything. But he's had a great rookie season. This will be the second best ever, at least. I think with this 100+ yard game this week, he's got a good shot at catching Ditka's overall record. Obviously, he'll have several more games to do it, as opposed to Ditka when he had, I think he did it in a 14-game season. So, not exactly the same. Ditka probably, if you want to adjust it per game, Ditka's probably never going to be caught. That's an incredible record. But Pitts actually has now broken the single season record for receiving yards for a tight end in franchise history. He beat Tony Gonzalez, who is one of the best tight ends to ever play the game, having one of his best ever seasons in Atlanta. Had 930 yards in 2012. Pitts has now surpassed that yardage mark. Obviously, the touchdowns haven't been there, but that's something I think that does come with experience. We saw that with Julio. Never really caught up. Julio was never really a super great touchdown scorer, but I think that's something that you pick up, nuance in your game over time. So it's really impressive for Pitts either way you slice it. And I think, his rookie year in a lot of ways reminds me of Julio's rookie season, where he sort of somehow had a disappointing year to a lot of people, despite him having, I think, like 800 yards or something like that, and being a good player. And then he went on to the next season to be just this incredible force and this great player. And, of course, everyone remembers everything that happened after that. So I think Pitts could easily have that trajectory as he continues to grow at the NFL level. But, continue to make clutch catches. They gave him a lot more targets in this game, and good on them. They need to. He needs the targets. Like, even if he's not open, you sort of have to target him because he's so good. He just makes magic happen with the ball, and they don't really have anyone else right now. Russell Gage has been doing his damnness, but you can see, like, he's not capable of carrying the load as a wide receiver 1. Asking him to do that is just too much. He's been playing better than expected, and he's definitely had a strong end to his season here. But he's not a wide receiver 1, and asking him to do that, it's not fair. And you could probably say the same thing about Pitts, but these guys, they have to diversify the passing attack. They have to spread the ball around, but Pitts needs to be getting the lion's share of targets just because he's so good, and you just need to sort of force feed him the ball. And good thing happens. Good things happen when you target Pitts. It seems like so. I hope they continue with that. All right, let's get to George Costanza's donation with the $3. Hold on, I have to scroll down apparently to read it for some reason because we had some people subscribing. Thank you to everyone subscribing today. Appreciate that. Pitts. George Costanza says, that Pitts guy might be a pretty good addition. Let's compare him to that other first-round tight end in Detroit. Oh, wait, he's out for the season. Oh, that's cold, George. That's cold. He's out for the season again. People hated the Pitts pick, but how good has Fields or Lance looked? Glad we didn't reach on quarterback. Yeah, I mean, it was always a gamble, right, George? And we've talked about it at length with you and, with everyone here that, like, them taking quarterback was a gamble and the Pitts pick was a gamble too. And it was more like, if you think Pitts is a guaranteed Hall of Famer, you can justify taking him over a potential franchise quarterback because, taking Hall of Famers is always a good idea. Always. So, if Pitts really is this dynamic guy, and it seems like he is, it's hard to ever second guess that pick. Maybe we're second guessing the second round pick. We could have had my son Creed Humphrey, but, and the team seems so loath to play Richie Grant. And like Grant has looked decent when he's played. They just seem so loath to. That's a different topic for another time. But yeah, I mean, I think Fields has been okay, but and Lance hasn't even gotten on the field, which not all that surprising, right? I think we sort of, if we were thinking the Falcons were interested in Lance, it was like he's going to sit for the year, probably take over next year. So just it's tough to say. It's obviously still early with those quarterbacks, but I think it's at this point it's hard to say that they made a mistake with Pitts, especially considering we didn't know at the time that Calvin Ridley wasn't going to be playing. So it looks even better with that because without Pitts they'd have nothing. I mean, if they didn't take Pitts and they took a quarterback instead, kept all the other draft picks the same, I mean, it's just really, really tough. Really, really tough to see that, a quarterback wouldn't have moved the needle for this team this year. A quarterback pick always would have been future focused, but I think you could say that the Pitts pick is future focused too, because it's potentially setting up a dynamic number one target for the next quarterback whenever that guy arrives. Don't think it'll be this year, probably next year. But, we'll see. We'll see. All right, guys, let me send a tweet real quick. Hold on. And yeah, if anybody else has questions, feel free to throw those in the chat. And thank you to Zerixio and Kendrail Duhart for subscribing. Please do like and subscribe, guys, if you haven't done that already. Both those metrics really help us out. Appreciate that. Hold on 1 second. All right. Yes, and if anyone is interested in donating, I don't know if our bot is working correctly still. I went and reset it. It should be working, but if you need the link to that, it's in the show description. I believe it's streamlabs.com/thefalcoholic live, but or just maybe the Falcoholic. You can also type !tip into the chat. It should give you your response, but like I said, the bot has been acting very strangely lately, so don't know exactly what's going on with that. Herbert Tunson, why no Arthur Smith timeouts at the end of halves? Yeah, I mean, the use of timeouts by both teams was interesting. And I don't really understand Arthur Smith's, strategy. He seems to be extremely conservative with this football team, so it doesn't really shock me that he doesn't think he can try to squeeze points out at the end of halves. But I didn't agree with them taking timeouts for the Lions at the end of this game. I think the Lions are a check down and run the football team. They're not a long strike team. I think they completed like one play over 20 yards against the Falcons. So I think if the Lions want to run the clock out, you let them run the clock out, and you just think your defense can stop them. And, I think that would have been my preference. Like if the Lions wanted to run the clock down and only give themselves a couple of shots, do it. Like, let them run the clock out, because I don't think you're getting the ball back maybe with 10 seconds, even if you take the timeouts. So it just I didn't agree with that, but it ended up being fine because Foyaloka made a play. Props to him. So yeah, that was an interesting one. All right, let me see if I missed a question here. A Muchik or A Muchik perhaps was the question, or the name. He says, can we beat Buffalo? Can they? Yes. Will they? No. So I wouldn't get your hopes up for that one. Can they? Absolutely. But will they? No. Anyone. Buffalo lost to the Jaguars, so anyone can beat Buffalo. It's just I think it's unlikely. This team turns to wet tissue paper as soon as they play someone that's actually good. So don't think that's going to work. Shaquavius Scott, is the Hennessy experiment near its end? It might be. Shaquavius, I think that's how you say your name. I apologize if I butchered it. I don't know. I mean, I think they sort of have to keep one of these guys, and it's much more likely to be Mayfield getting yoinked, because Hennessy hasn't been great, but I think he's been okay for the most part. So I think Hennessy's probably going to be okay, or at least they'll just hope that either one of Hennessy or Dahlman will sort of take over the job, and then they have to sign somebody. So I think they're going to sign either a left guard or a center, maybe they're just going to see who bites, who they can get for the most, who they can get at the most economical deal. They'll probably bring a bunch of guys in, and if it happens to be a center, I know someone mentioned Ben Jones. If he can come on a decent deal, I don't think they would hesitate for that. I think they're more likely to sort of, I guess, go after left guard, because I think the options at left guard are a little bit better. And I think that we're going to see, I like the options at left guard better. I mean, I guess if they sign something like James Daniels too, like Daniels could potentially play center. He's playing guard right now, for the Bears, but he played center in college. So that could be another guy that is a name. Ben Jones is one that people mentioned. That they have other options, like Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, who I think got signed by the Jets, hasn't really gotten a chance to play, but he was a good starter for the Chiefs for many years before he took a time off for COVID, and then lost his starting job. So, for some reason, we lost the chat. So that's not great. Don't know what happened there. It looks like the stream is still going, but it seems like YouTube's chat maybe went down, because I lost it on both the streaming and on YouTube.com. So hopefully it'll come back, but if not,